some moves, some shake-ups in the media world yesterday. Finally, after having it delayed by its conniving ex-chairman, Barbara Chapman, the shareholders of NZME were allowed to hold, at the behest of their board, their outgoing board, an AGM. Though Barbara Chapman took the unusual move of saying only approved media, and that was rich coming from a media company, could attend the AGM. In the knowledge of that, I yesterday rang someone I know to be a shareholder of NZME who would be at the meeting and asked him if he would come on the program this morning and give us a blow-by-blow or give us his view of what happened at the AGM yesterday. He's agreed to do that, so we are joined now by Hobson's Pledge spokesperson, former leader of the National Party and Governor of the Reserve Bank, Dr. Don Brash. Don, how are you this morning?
Very well, thank you, Sean. Very well.
All right, was it a riveting AGM yesterday?
Well, the dominant impression most people had of the meeting was it was very cold. Everyone was complaining how cold the room was, and even the chairman, Barbara Chapman, said her
ex-chairman, surely, ex-chairman,
ex-chair now, had gone blue. So it was a very cold meeting temperature-wise, but it was a civilised meeting. No one got angry or furious.
How many people there, Don? Paint me a picture.
I would think about 50 or 60 people.
Okay.
Including some notable people like Michael Horton, of course, one of the original owners of the Herald.
Yeah.
And one or two people who obviously had a big chunk of shares.
Jim Grennan?
Obviously the new... Sorry?
Jim Grennan was there?
Jim Grennan was there, of course, and he spoke. He was one of there were 4 resolutions, including the reappointment of one of the directors and the appointment of both Stephen Joyce and Jim Grennan. And all 3 of those people spoke to the meeting and gave their views about the future of the Herald. And I must say, in that sense, it was a very civilised meeting, good questioning of particularly Jim Grennan, and also Stephen Joyce. And, it was a civilised meeting, I have to say, Sean.
Was there representation from the staff in the form of Etu Union or anyone in the room?
Not that I recognise.
Okay.
No.
All right. And what was the first order of business to replace Barbara Chapman?
No, that's, of course, a matter for the new board to decide. The assumption is the new chairman will be Stephen Joyce, and that was made quite explicit, but there was no vote on that, of course, at the AGM. That's for the new board to discuss.
All right.
I must say, Barbara Chapman, I thought, chaired it well, given the fact that she's been under the pump on this issue, and the whole way the NZME board has handled the matter. I thought she handled it professionally, and I couldn't complain about the way the meeting was run itself.
All right. Was there any debate about the philosophical direction or the bias inherent in NZME or not?
No, there wasn't, at least not that I recognised. I did ask a question about why they allowed a domestic appliance business to run front page ads on the Herald week after week.
But not you guys.
But not us. and Barbara Chapman said that after they ran the Hobson's Pledge ad last August on the front page, they lost subscribers. And when, a week or two later, we wanted to reply to the attacks on that ad and wanted to reply, they refused to run that. She said, we lost some more subscribers. So then she turned the meeting over to Michael Boggs, who was the managing director of NZME, to say, well, could you comment on this? And he said, we've decided to run any ads which meet legal requirements in the paper, but not on the front page when they are advocacy ads. He said, because our readers get confused between advocacy ads and the editorial position of the Herald, or some of them do. So that was his reason for not running advocacy ads on the front cover.
Did you take that, Don? And I know you bought shares relatively recently in the NZME, so you could go to that meeting.
That's correct.
Does that mean that Hobson's Pledge can now at least get some advertising in the Herald?
Yes, it does. As I understand what was said yesterday, we can get ads, provided, of course, it meets legal requirements, and that's true of any ad, but not on the front cover.
And Barbara Chapman came up well after the fact with this excuse that when they run your ads, they lose readers.
Well,
Have they ever said that to you before?
They haven't said it to us before, no, not to my knowledge anyway.
No, I've never heard them say it to anyone before. I wonder if they lost ads when they run union ads by the CTU or not.
Well, of course, they haven't run, to be fair, have they run the CTU on the front cover? I don't know.
Yes, they did during the election campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty sure they did.
Well,
yeah.
Well, my understanding is they won't run such ads in future. That's my understanding.
No advocacy ads on them. Well, mind you can advocate to buy a toaster, can't you? All right. Well, as long as it's the same rules, I guess, Don, for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I thought his view didn't speak highly of his view of the intelligence of Herald readers if they confuse an advocacy ad on the front cover with the editorial position of the Herald.
Yeah.
But it was at least a rational kind of decision, and as long as it's the same rules for everybody, I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I think Barbara Chapman's just making the stuff up about losing readers. I'd love to see if there's any actual empirical evidence of that, and I think the smart money says there isn't. Was there a feeling, Don, in this meeting of change?
Yes, there was. And I think not least because, of course, the announcement made yesterday of the TradeMe purchase of half of Stuff. I mean, the whole media scene in New Zealand is obviously in flux.
Well,
and,
the legacy media scene is. There's a new media scene that the platform is part of. Don.
That's correct. And the platform is a good example of it.
Yeah.
That's right.
But what it is now, we've now got two media companies, actually one not a publicly listed company, being Stuff Digital. They've both aligned themselves with marketing arms that sell real estate, because TradeMe's all about the house section, the real estate section of TradeMe, as OneRoof is all about selling real estate. I also note now that, Don, that Stuff is, TradeMe's 50% owned by a private equity firm in Britain. We still have mainstream media largely owned offshore.
Yes, I'm not quite sure what the shareholding structure of NZME is now.
My understanding is still majority owned offshore.